So I'm delighted to be here to talk on behalf of the Consortium for CreaTech Frontiers and to talk to you about Creative City and our cluster, both things really. So everyone here, I guess, knows instinctively what makes a city creative. The ingredients are well known: a conducive urban environment, a diverse mix of communities interacting among them, abundant cultural life, good schools, good universities, international links, one or more anchor organizations around which creative businesses can grow, or a critical mass of creative business, of creative companies. Crucially, ingredients also would include policies that facilitated business creation and growth, help attract and retain the talent in the region, and also foster innovation. So far, nothing new. However, from a European international perspective, I'd like to stress the importance of a functional mix in the city's urban fabric to encourage creativity. Most European creative cities, as you know, from Barcelona to Amsterdam, from Milan to Lyon, will exhibit a strong mix and high density of different functions in the same city area, from commercial to production, from residential to retail, from cultural to entertainment. A complex urban fabric means that people can live, work, shop, go out in the same neighborhood. This encourages casual encounters and exchange of ideas. It is an essential element for creative placemaking, sparking creativity in an organic and unplanned way, which, as we know, is often the best way. The fundamental challenge in a city like Birmingham, as in many UK cities, apart from London, is how to create the conditions for organic creative cluster formation in an urban fabric that often works against it. There are several barriers that can only be overcome by comprehensive long-term policy decisions. It is great to see that, notwithstanding the current financial challenges, the Birmingham City Council has plans to address many of those barriers with the Central Birmingham Framework 2045 vision. Successful examples in other UK cities, of course Manchester, Bristol, and many others, show how holistic and multi-pronged approaches and strategies do work. In Birmingham, one significant intervention has been the strategy for Digbeth as a creative quarter. Its implementation, though, has revealed many of the challenges that Birmingham faces. Digbeth's development has been slow and so far only partially successful. There are some positive recent developments. For example, the Steam House building in our own university, Birmingham City, is providing new creative spaces in the area. Digbeth Lock Studios and the BBC are repurposing existing buildings. The high street improvements and the planned metro extension will address some of the connectivity issues. And longer term, we've got the HS2 Curzon Street station coming in Digbeth and could be a transformative event. The comparison with Birmingham's Jewellery Quarter is illuminating. Here we find a lot of the things that make sustainable a creative cluster. There's a critical mass of companies. There are 700 jewelers working in the Jewellery Quarter. I think they represent around 40% of the UK production. There's a long history to the quarter, the quality of the urban environment. There are more than 200 listed buildings in the quarter. There's a mix of uses: culture, retail, residential, and production, of course. It has a protected status as a conservation area and is co-located with a number of educational institutions, including the BCU School of Jewellery. It has its challenges, of course, but it does show that organic evolution can be more effective than planned intervention in establishing a creative cluster. There's an interesting parallel here with the Silicon Spa gaming cluster in Leamington and the surrounding areas. This cluster also grew organically from an initial company, Codemasters, as you know, in the 80s. And that company functioned as an anchor organization. Both clusters show evidence of developing and retaining deep talent pools in specialized creative skills. Both have a culture of collaboration and knowledge exchange despite competition. Interestingly, Silicon Spa developers, because of the closed nature of game development and also because digital connectivity has improved so much, are now scattered around the country and internationally, showing how an established creative cluster can progressively become more and more dematerialized without losing its essence. Learning from these examples, how can our new CreaTech Frontiers cluster contribute to the making of a creative city? Focusing on collaborative and cross-sector research and development, CreaTech Frontiers will bring together creative technology companies, arts and cultural organizations, high-value growth industry, and academic researchers. Hundreds of business support events, workshops, seminars, and by awarding more than 200 innovation grants, we will directly address the fragmentation of the creative sector in our region and provide opportunities for organic growth of the cluster. We do trust creative communities to shape their own future. The AHRC cluster funding is essentially designed to do just that, responding to industry needs, rather than imposing preconceived notions of what growth should look like. We want to empower the creative communities in the West Midlands by welcoming them in our 4 CreaTech labs, physical spaces where people can share and try out new ideas, but also by bringing many of our activities to peripheral areas, working with local organizations for maximum impact. Fast and reliable digital connectivity can complement close physical proximity, as we've seen, and contribute to the establishment of a thriving ecosystem, which is our ultimate aim. Our cluster will be the ideal platform to give the creative community a stronger voice and representation in the decisions of policymakers around the other interventions that are needed for a creative ecosystem to thrive. Some of them, we looked at them from an urban perspective. In order to reap the social and cultural dividends of economic growth, our work needs to reflect the diversity of the West Midlands and capture the creative potential of currently underrepresented communities. From a 5-year perspective, which is the duration of the cluster, embedding EDI, responsible innovation, and sustainability in all our activities is not only ethically desirable, but in the light of an increasingly demanding regulatory environment, it's also a smart thing to do to ensure competitiveness of our creative businesses. The core partners of CreaTech Frontiers, as you can see from our logos, are 1 independent research organization, the Royal Shakespeare Company, and 4 universities. We have established initial partnerships with more than 20 companies, several arts and cultural organizations, and relevant sector bodies and economic agencies, including, of course, the West Midlands Combined Authority. We know that many more partners will join us over the life of the project. We invite them to. For the moment, the initial investment from the partners effectively more than doubles the value of the AHRC grant. We will be offering a comprehensive program of integrated collaborative R&D, business support, and skills development, using the resources and expertise of all our partners. The devolved funding to creative businesses will include 1.8 million of direct grants, plus 1.6 million of research and development from academics, for a total of 3.4 million. In addition, we will set up, as I mentioned, 4 labs in the region, each focusing on a different aspect of creative technologies. We will also run several large R&D collaborations with cultural organizations and a series of international events, including demonstrators for South by Southwest, curated by the Royal Shakespeare Company. Our overarching ambition is to create a sustainable innovation ecosystem that will act as a powerful catalyst for further funding, both public and private investment, and also continue to thrive long after the initial funding period. Let me conclude by playing a short video with testimonials from some of our key stakeholders.
The creative sector, the creative industries in the West Midlands is fundamentally part of our strategy going forward. We are absolutely committed to delivering on that, given our heritage has very much been built on creative endeavour. We also see developing the skills required in the West Midlands as absolutely essential to keeping the ecosystem thriving for the next decade or so. So as part of a consortium of other universities in the West Midlands, we're coming together to drive this project, which will play a part ultimately in securing the creative industries for the West Midlands.
What we're trying to do is to make certain that we bring those 2 things together, infrastructure and skills. We bring a diverse set of talent.
For a long time, we've been looking at how we develop more skills in our students, how we develop skills in the communities. But if those people we're developing aren't getting the jobs, there's a real problem. We now need to think about infrastructure. What is going to be our infrastructure going forward? How will the infrastructure support the development of job creation? How are we working with employers But more importantly, that investment has got to be collaborative.
The West Midlands Combined Authority is developing a regional economic growth plan, of which the cultural and creative industries are front and centre, and opportunities like CreaTech Frontiers will provide signalling and pathways for our artists, our organisations and our emerging companies to really develop their products and practice and work at an international scale.
What sets us apart is that we've got fantastic people here, we've got fantastic talent here, we've got fantastic research institutions here, and what this funding and support will allow us to do is build on the progress we've made today and create a sector that is driving our regional economy, but also attracting international investment too.
Thank you very much.